Sarua conducted research in the SADC region on the state of play and published a research report in 2023. And the findings of this research show that while IQA systems are in place, there's still a considerable understanding of the technical aspects which underpin the success of an IQA system, or rather a considerable, I wouldn't say lack of understanding, but there needs to be, a lot more capacity development and further work in this area, because there's an understanding of the technical aspect which underpin the success of an IQA system. But there is a challenge in implementing institutional level management of change to allow the embedding of a shared quality culture. And this is also linked to limited resources. So on the one hand, for example, you have the ASGQA, which then facilitates development of systems, but the building of the culture, the institutional culture, that will still take a while. There's a need to shift the system from compliance to an enhancement orientation, which also then influence the type of quality culture that is developed. Leadership in QA is integral to the type of quality culture that is developed, and there is a need to enhance such leadership at the highest levels in each of the countries from an EQA perspective, as well as in HEIs from an IQA perspective. Another challenge being faced, and this has become more and more evident recently, is that of the development of micro-credentials and the quality assurance thereof. There's been limited work in the SADC region, and there's a need for more work in this area to facilitate the development of quality assurance systems on micro-credentials. Our quality assurance practitioners identified a number of other challenges, which include the lack of support from management, unclear reporting lines, limited funding, resistance to change is a key issue, lack of training, but also feeling of isolation amongst QA staff. And one theme that was emphasized in the outcomes of the research was the importance of training, whether facilitated internally or externally, and also the importance of non-quality assurance staff undertaking QA training. Well, again, arising from the research outcomes, one of the suggestions for improvement included training and opportunities for regular engagement between quality assurance directors and other QA practitioners. And one of the things that we've done at Sarua is to establish a community of practice for IQA, and through this community of practice, webinars are hosted by Sarua, which provide opportunities for regular engagement between QA practitioners. And there has been an increasing interest and participation in the webinars. In fact, in last year, I elicited feedback from all of the participants at the various webinars to provide input on what we might address as topics in the webinars for this year, and that was very, very informative and helpful. Another initiative has been the collaboration between Sarua and the University of Potsdam in offering the Train IQA program for the Southern region. This is funded by the DAAD through the German Rectors Conference and the Federal Ministry, and the program is limited to a cohort of 30 participants across the SADC. And we are currently engaged in training of the third cohort. The first cohort, due to COVID, was held online only. And then the second and the third cohort have had in-person contact with trainers. And Sarua, I am one of the trainers on the Train IQA program from Sarua. As of late 2024, at the end of 2024, we signed a memorandum with UNESCO Rosa in agreeing to collaborate, and I'm one of the trainers in QA capacity enhancement through in-country workshops. And this is a key advantage of the UNESCO Rosa training, where this is done within countries so that there's participation from a national regulatory authorities, but also from many of the AGIs in the country. And to date, workshops have been conducted in Zimbabwe, Zambia, Eswatini, where the workshop was jointly for participants from Eswatini and Lesotho. For 2026, proposed workshops include Mauritius and one in Namibia for both Namibia and Botswana. I'm currently in discussion with colleagues at UNESCO Rosa with regard to developing or hosting a workshop on micro-credentials prior to the Sarua conference, which is to be held in Botswana in November. So to start the conversation, to start the work within the SADC region. There's been some work done on micro-credentials through the FOMISA project, but this has been limited to 4 countries, and it was evident in the Train IQA workshop recently in Potsdam that there is a growing interest and need for work in micro-credentials. Well, a key importance is Sarua's strategic regional partnership in the Haka initiative, and this has been there since the very early days. This gives Sarua firstly greater visibility and encourages more AGIs to become members of Sarua, but also Sarua then has a greater role to play in the SADC region. There's also some funding provided from the Haka initiative, albeit quite limited, for the work that we do on the webinars and facilitating and promoting this work. So there's financial support from the Haka initiative, and that financial support also covers the data work area. So it helps, it really facilitates the work that we do in Sarua regarding the community of practice and the webinars. And then the African Standards and Guidelines for Quality Assurance is used as a reference in the workshops as well, so that we can ground training in those standards and guidelines, but try and take the conversation beyond compliance and focus on enhancement and improvement. But again, that's a journey. You know, it hasn't happened overnight in Europe and elsewhere, and it's certainly not going to happen overnight within the continent. But that's the shift that we try to promote through the workshops as well. The PAQA, the Pan-African Quality Assurance Agency / Alliance, or PAQA, has oversight of the PACAF and its action lines, and it is important that this is established. It's urgent, otherwise the Pan-African Quality Assurance Framework will just float around without oversight. You know, these will be disparate action lines rather than being a coherent framework with oversight from an overarching body. So I think that is important because this will also unite quality assurance authorities and agencies across the continent in a common interest, promote alignment between national and regional qualification frameworks, and also serve as an interface with other continental agencies with similar missions. It has an important role to play in capacity development and enhancement with regard to the action lines, the building capacity in external quality assurance agencies, and promoting the ASGQA for both IQA and EQA. Now, there's a whole new range of acronyms that everyone needs to get familiar with regard to the PACA and the PACWAF, but it's the same as at a national level when one deals with all of these acronyms. The PACWA will also conduct external reviews of national QAAs and maintain a register thereof, which is important for the transparency of quality assurance and accreditation in Africa. It'll also serve to promote confidence in QA systems in Africa, both at an external quality assurance level and also internal quality assurance. I think that the PACA will also have an important role for the application of common tools for recognition of qualifications and micro-credentials, and the recognition of cross-border qualifications, thus facilitating higher education mobility. I think more support at a regional level, to increase financial support or some other support for capacity enhancement at country level. Whilst partnering with UNESCO, ROSA has increased our reach of in-country workshops, there's still a limitation on the availability of resources. And at most, there are 2 workshops a year. And now, considering the need for work in the area of micro-credentials, we do need increased support in the region for this. I think there's a need for supporting countries to be able to sign the Addis and global conventions, which has implications for their QA systems. I'm not sure to what extent there's also clear understanding of the importance of these conventions with regard to mobility and recognition as well.